Hey there, everyone. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic that's been on my mind lately, the resilience and evolution of the so-called axis of resistance led by Iran. This network has proven to be more dangerous and adaptable than many strategists initially anticipated. So let's break it down and explore why this is the case. First off, the ongoing conflict between the United States and Iran has revealed a critical flaw in the thinking that led to the war. The initial strategy, pushed by regime change advocates, was to target Iran's economy, leadership, and supply lines, assuming that this would cripple not only Iran but also its regional allies. However, this strategy, which I like to call the octopus theory, has failed to account for the complex and dynamic nature of the axis. You see, the axis is not a simple, hierarchical structure with easily identifiable weak points. Instead, it has evolved into a densely interconnected web, almost like a self-reproducing organism. When one leader is taken out, another steps up. When a manufacturing site is bombed, the knowledge and resources are quickly redistributed. It's an incredibly flexible and resilient system. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has played a pivotal role in developing this sophisticated network. Over the past 2 decades, they've transformed local insurgents into highly capable organizations. Groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis have built their own supply chains, trained their own engineers, and even developed the ability to manufacture weapons. They've essentially become self-sufficient military-industrial complexes. One of the key factors in this transformation is the IRGC's strategy of subcontracting training to other Axis groups. This has created direct connections between these groups and allowed them to share knowledge and resources. For example, Hezbollah, which was once solely dependent on Iran for training, is now training other groups like Hamas and the Houthis. This decentralized approach has made the Axis more resilient and harder to disrupt. Now, let's talk about the role of technology and supply chains. The Axis has adapted to the changing global landscape, especially when it comes to drone technology. Chinese manufacturers have become a key source for drone parts, which are now readily available and affordable. This has allowed Axis groups to build their own drones, often using supply chains that are difficult to track and disrupt. The use of shell companies and secrecy jurisdictions further complicates matters. Parts are bought anonymously and transported in shipping containers, making it nearly impossible to trace their origin. This has rendered traditional sanctions and terrorism designations less effective, as the Axis has found ways to bypass these measures. So, what's the solution? Well, the old strategies of political pressure, sanctions, and military strikes are no longer sufficient. The Axis has proven its ability to recover and adapt. Instead, a more comprehensive regional strategy is needed. This could involve a combination of continued disruption of commercial and financial networks, splitting off less embedded groups, and engaging politically with established groups. Additionally, the United States may need to consider adopting a similar strategy to the IRGC, building its own network of state and non-state actors. However, this approach comes with significant risks and challenges, given the U.S.'s track record in this area. In conclusion, the axis of resistance has evolved into a complex and dangerous network, and it's time for a new strategy. The old theories and assumptions have failed, and we need fresh ideas to address this evolving threat. I believe a combination of diplomatic, economic, and strategic approaches is necessary to contain and potentially strike deals with this resilient network. What do you think? Are there any specific aspects of this topic that you find particularly intriguing? I'd love to hear your thoughts and continue this discussion in the comments below.